Billings, Montana. It's time now for Paul Harvey with news and commentary, so stay tuned. 56 degrees outside.
Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news. First, thank you. Thank you. I have just received word that the Schick Flexomatic is the fastest-growing electric shaver anywhere. Thank you. All I could do was to try to explain how Mr. Frawley had gone all out to create an electric shaver which keeps its promises, how he and his researchers had adapted space-age steel to a super-thin Flexomatic head which is so soft that it goes in and out with the contours of a man's face, and yet so hard that it stays sharp. Thus, for the first time, to give a man an electric shave that feels close as a blade shave without the ouch. But a precision shaving tool of that quality had to cost about $30, and that is just more than a man likes to spend on himself. But you did, you and the girls who love you, and as of February 1974, the Schick Flexomatic is the fastest-growing electric shaver in the world. Thank you. And a United States sailor has been arrested in Hong Kong as a cabjacker. A cabjacker. Dennis Hoff, armed with a knife, tried to force a cab driver to drive him to China. Nothing new in the kidnapping of the Hearst girl. Today begins her third week captive. No, today begins the fourth week. The massive food giveaway resumes tomorrow after a disorderly beginning. I suppose you saw some of that violence, looting. 30 injured, 35 arrested, as people scrambled for the free food bought at such a price. In Atlanta, in the kidnapping of the editor Reg Murphy, despite the designation of an American Revolutionary Army, the Assistant United States Attorney says there's no evidence that any more than 2 kidnappers were involved, William Williams and his wife. San Juan, Puerto Rico. 3 days. Inmates rebelled at district jail in San Juan, so armed guards moved in behind tear gas and took them. Large-scale police scandal, Indianapolis. The Stars have 30 policemen accepted money or sex to protect houses of prostitution. Michigan State University East Lansing is giving college-age women lessons in fighting off rapists. How to use fists and knees and fingernails and the scream. In Washington, Herb Kalmbach, the former personal attorney to the president, accused of soliciting political contributions and promising an ambassadorship in exchange for one large contribution, pleads guilty. He could get 3 years. George Gallup surveyors asked 3,000 registered voters which party would you rather see win in November, and the Democrats won 2-1. State Secretary Kissinger en route to Mideast today said he hoped to expand the ceasefire, get real peace talks going. But oh, hey, Israel's one-eyed General Moshe Dayan just got a scolding from the school teacher. Israeli Premier Golda Meir is trying to hold her government together, and he refuses to help, so she gave the one-time war hero a 10-minute lecture. I mean, right out in front of everybody. It is forbidden for you to do this, Moshe Dayan. You will not be able to forgive yourself even if you think you're right, and so forth, for 10 minutes. But he stubbornly refused her his support. The hymns are in trouble worldwide. In Britain, in Italy, in Washington, in Israel. Now a survey in West Germany shows 42% of those who voted for Chancellor Willy Brandt 4 years ago would not vote for him now. Half of the drivers who have cars equipped with buzzers and lights and all that stuff to force fastening the seatbelt, half of them have found some way to disconnect or circumvent the system. Anthropologist Richard Leakey says his researchers in Africa are now confident they will be able to prove that humans existed on Earth as many as 4 million years ago. That would predate any human bones now on hand by 1 million years. It's government salaries which have been going up fastest. Tax Foundation finds the average earnings of federal employees increased 88% in 10 years, compared to 66% in private industry. So out of every 8-hour working day, you spend the first 2 hours and 39 minutes earning enough to pay taxes. You thought groceries were most expensive. You work 2 hours and 13 minutes each day to earn enough for food and clothing and shelter. But you work more than that, 2 hours and 39 minutes just to upkeep the bureaucracy. Gold soared this morning in Paris to a record $174 an ounce, and the Yankee dollar was uptrending. Machine tool orders in January were down 6.9% from the month previous, but running 18% ahead of a year ago. Durable goods orders in January up almost 2%, and put it all together. Add income and subtract outgo, add growth and subtract inflation. When the World Bank computed all the numbers to date, the United States, the richest country in the world, is growing wealthier at a 2% per year rate. Page 2. We know so much better than we do. Most of the governments of the world, like our own, are now warning against smoking for health reasons. But most of the governments of the world, like our own, are continuing to encourage the growing of tobacco for economic reasons. Remember the penny postcard. Forget it. This is the last week for the 6-cent postcard. As of next Saturday, the postcard will cost 8 cents. Airmail card, 11 cents. And letters will take a 10-cent stamp. Airmail letters, 13 cents. President Nixon may hold a televised news conference this evening, his first since October. The most valuable painting in the world has been stolen. Jean Vermeer's guitar player, stolen from a museum in London, so famous that it could not possibly be sold, so it had to be stolen by a master thief who will hold it for ransom, or by a madman who did not know what he was taking. In the spotlight, Sam Snead still has the swing, but his legs can't match those of the younger players when the tournaments get to the third and fourth day. Young Leonard Thompson won the Inverary with a 278. Superstar Harmon Killebrew of Minnesota's Twins, after 20 seasons in the majors, is still going to training camp earlier than he has to get in shape for the next one. Pole vaulter Steve Smith has a new pole designed by his father, a pole which he thinks will carry him over the bar at an unprecedented 20 feet. Coach Ken Trickey leaving Oral Roberts U to try for the coaching job at the University of Illinois. And when you're rating Class AA basketball teams, don't overlook the Peoria, Illinois Knights. 23 wins, 1 loss. Only Pekin's Chinks got to them, but in Greenwood, Mississippi, the Pillow Academy girls team now has won 95 straight. Lose weight under hypnosis. Western University, Illinois project. And 60 persons who've tried it have lost weight, at least as much as 20 pounds. One's lost as much as 150 pounds. Dr. James Garrett, assistant professor of psychology, puts his classes under group hypnosis and tells them that they no longer have a craving for food. He tells them that instead of eating as a habit, they're going to make non-eating a habit. And he says they do. And then he teaches them how to keep themselves thus hypnotized, so that after the 6 weeks course, they can keep their own appetites under control. Only about half of us respond well to hypnosis, so this is just for those. Sarah, the El Paso, Texas pants maker, has signed with the union after a strike that lasted, 22 months? At least 18. Anyway, recognition of the union is just the beginning. Now, the contract talks begin. Page 3. Action is balloons still unfound. All military ships and planes off northwest Africa alerted to search. New Orleans Mardi Gras crowds are larger but younger. Police and merchants report more drinking, less spending. Draft or no draft, when you are 18, you still have to register, and there will be another lottery March 20 for men born in 1955. Nightclub TV comic Red Fox, blaming a nervous disorder, has missed 4 weeks of the Sanford and Son series and still isn't back. They're riding around him. In the Tournament of Roses, Mr. and Mrs. Addison Lomax are still February 25's national champion lovers, Meridian, Texas, 73 years. Autopsy on former Senator Bill Nolan. 1 bullet in the head, self-inflicted. Nolan was 65. Weekend obituaries include the world's hardest working astronomer, Dr. George Van Weisbrecht in Tucson at 94. Author-historian Margaret Leach Pulitzer in New York at 80. And the songwriter who wrote 3 Little Words, and Who's Sorry Now, and others, Harry Ruby, at 78. From the Los Angeles Times, evangelist Garner Ted Armstrong, radio TV evangelist, accused by 5 ministers of his own church. They say he has committed adultery over a period of years and has squandered church money for his personal use. The 5 ministers have resigned and a 6th has been fired. The evangelist declines comment. President Preuss of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod discussed the doctrinal dispute which caused the walkout at Concordia Seminary in a speech before the Southern Illinois District Convention and got a standing ovation for his position. His position is that the Bible means what it says, but that the church must extend brotherly love to those who interpret Scripture differently. You have heard that ministers from over the nation are converging on Bibletown, Boca Raton, Florida, for a conference. When asked about the increasing traffic of ministers to Florida in the wintertime, this present penchant of ministers to find some reason to go to Florida in the wintertime, Pastor Bob Gray says that's where most of the sinners are. What about so-called organic health foods? Here today is another sweeping indictment by 2 professors before the American Association for the Advancement of Science. 2 professors who insist that the organic foods business is nonsense, a multi-million-dollar racket. They insist that experiments at Michigan Experiment Station over 25 years and the United States Plant Soil Nutrition Laboratory over a period of 24 years show that there are no differences in foods which are organically grown. That whether the crops are fertilized with animal or synthetic fertilizers makes no difference nutritionally. But they say food faddists and eccentrics are taken for $500 million each year by merchants of such stuff. For what it's worth, the department has to nominate this one the classic bumper snicker of this week without even seeing the rest of them. Paul Howard saw this snicker sticker on Peachtree Street in Atlanta. It says, quote, "Drive 90, freeze a Yankee," end quote. Paul Harvey. Good day.
When it comes to saving, it's your money, your future.